If you've been waiting to start something until you have a clear plan, this episode is going to help you take that first step, even if you have no idea where it will lead. If you're tired of feeling stuck in life and doubting yourself and want simple steps to stop overthinking, gain clarity, and start living your dream, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Sarah Tyke, a midlife mom, chronic overthinker, and your dream activator. I learned the secret of how to overcome self-doubt and stop overthinking. Take small, practical steps to create the life you dream of. If you're ready to see the possibilities, transform your mindset, and take the first step forward, grab a pen and a journal and meet me in the Dream Lab. Hi, welcome to Reinventing Life After 40. I'm your host, Sarah Tyke. Today we're going to revisit an idea that was addressed back in episode 1, but with a little bit of a twist. In episode 1, we talked about starting small, that you don't need to make huge, chaotic changes. Today, we're going to talk about starting messy in real life. So, starting now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, not when you have things just right, not when you have things perfect, but starting now with what you have, regardless of how messy or uncertain it might be. So, I've talked about different podcasts that I've started in the past and how it kind of led up to this one. And I'm going to use that example again because it's a perfect example of how I started small and messy. I didn't know how to start with a podcast. I had heard somebody talk about it on a podcast and how she really liked it and how she thought it was just this great thing to do. And it sounded like fun. And it sounded like the perfect way for me to teach astronomy, which is what I was really wanting to do. But I didn't know how to start. I didn't know if anyone would listen, didn't know what to say, didn't know what the outcome would be. I mean, would it be a total waste of time? What would happen with it? What would I do with it? But I thought it sounded really fun, so I was like, well, I'm just going to do it anyway. And I was expressing my concerns to someone close to me about I just didn't know and maybe I should wait and I don't have like editing software, recording software. I don't know about any of this stuff. And he just said, nah, just do it anyway. I was like, oh, okay. I expected a little more pushback from people when I explained to them what I was doing. But this same person also had told me that if something makes me uncomfortable, that it's probably the right thing to do. So when I felt this sort of hesitation, this discomfort of trying this new idea of podcasting, he said that that's probably the right direction to do. You should probably try it out because it makes you uncomfortable. It's making you do something that expands your horizon. He also was not flabbergasted by my choice to major in astronomy when everyone else I was back in high school when I chose astronomy as my final major because I was going to go biology or genetics. And this person, when I told him, he was just like, okay, cool. Like, no big deal. And I was like, wow, okay. It's nice to have someone that, will support you like that, no matter what harebrained scheme you got going. So I jump in, I start the podcast, and once I started, things got easier. It just became a more natural. I didn't really worry about what I was going to talk about. And of course, I have changed courses, as you know, as I've mentioned. Um, but I feel like I'm on the right path now as far as the topic and, kind of the structure of the podcast and all this. But it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't just started because I could still be waiting for the the right time. I could be waiting until I have the perfect plan, the perfect podcast title, the perfect outline for every episode, the perfect ending outcome. Like I knew exactly what was going to happen and when. I could still be waiting for all of that. But it was never going to happen. And I would never have found this path if I hadn't tried one and said, oh, that's not right. Let me try this one. That's not right either. Oh, okay, here it is. Third time's a charm. I found it. So now I've found this topic, this path that I'm on, and I love it. It's so much fun. And I had to get here by trying other things first, not really knowing what I was going to do, not having everything set up, not having all the best of everything, not having all the time in the world either, but just doing it anyway, doing something. I think a lot of us tend to think that we need a lot of resources. to start on that path, to start living our dream life. We think we need more time, more money, more whatever, and we never have enough of anything to start actually pursuing our dream life. And I think it's because we want to be able to drop whatever we're doing and completely start over on that dream path. But chances are it's been a long time, many years perhaps, in the making that you're on the path you're on right now. And you can't just drop that and do a 180. And maybe you can. Maybe some people can, and that's great. But I think most of us can't. Like, you spent a long time getting onto this path. So to change course is going to take time, and you can't just snap your fingers and have a complete change. But you don't need to. But I think we all use that excuse to never actually do anything different. That's like, well, I can't do it. I can't just drop everything all at once. I can't just quit my job and start, my own business. So I'm just not going to do anything. And you don't need to quit your job and rearrange your life, is what I'm trying to tell you. And it's likely that if you're waiting for that kind of perfect circumstance, the perfect timing, the perfect whatever, it's just not going to happen. Real life doesn't really work in giving you perfect things, at least not my real life. So we just keep staying put where we are. We keep wishing and hoping and waiting. And I had listened to a pastor. It's Pastor Mark Lang from 180 Church in Detroit. The lead pastor of that church is Pastor Lorenzo Sewell. But one of his other pastors, Mark Lang, was giving a sermon, and he said that God will never expect you to do with what you don't have. He expects you to do with what you do have. And one of my favorite examples of this in the Bible is the parable of the talents. In Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30, we have the parable where a master is giving his servants talents, which is a unit of money. I also like the fact that it's also literally the word talent, like a gift. It's kind of a nice, I think, a nice double meaning here. So the master is giving his servants these talents. He gives one servant 5 talents, one servant 2 talents, and one servant 1 talent. And it says that to each he gave according to his own ability. So just beware of comparing yourself to others, because you've been given from God your abilities, and he's given you what you need. So each servant gets a different amount of money, a different amount of talents. And the servants who get 5 and 2 talents go out, they trade with the money, they make more money, they get another 5 or 2 talents. But the servant who was given 1 talent hides it. And when the master comes back, he's pleased with the 2 servants who went out and made money. He says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things." But he's angry with the servant who went and hid the money, because this servant said that he was afraid to lose it. He was only given 1 talent, and he was afraid to lose it, so he went and he hid it. But the master comes back and he's angry, and he calls him a wicked and lazy servant, and says, "You ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own interest, my own with interest." So he gives this guy's talent, the 1 talent, he gives it to the servant who went out and made money and got 10 talents. So the master wasn't even looking for the guy with 1 talent to do a lot. He wasn't asking him to go and build an empire with it. He said, "You should have at least put it in the bank. I could have got some interest off of it." But what did the guy do? He was afraid of losing it, so he hides it. Doesn't do anything. And here's the master saying, "Why did you hide it? That was the wrong thing to do. You could have at least done something with it." So from this parable, I want you to notice 3 things. First, that the 1 servant who was given 1 talent was afraid of doing anything. So he doesn't do anything. He just hides the money, never gets anything in return, doesn't increase it, he doesn't do anything. He just hides the money and nothing comes of it. And the master is actually angry with him because of it. And the master doesn't expect him to build an empire or do anything big with it. He should have just done something with it. And 3, each servant was given something. No one got nothing. The master didn't leave out anybody. Yeah, one guy got 5, one guy got 1, but they all got something, and we are told that it was given to his own ability. And going back to Pastor Lang's point on this, is that God doesn't expect you to do something with what you don't have, only with what you do have. And you do have something. God has given you something. He didn't leave any of the servants with no talents. Maybe some get more than you, maybe some get less, but that's not really your concern. Um, as we'd mentioned in a passage from last episode when Jesus tells Peter, what is it to you? What happens to this guy? You follow me. So don't worry about what other people are doing or what other people have. God gave you something, and he might not expect you to do, huge, big, world-changing things with it, but he does expect you to do something with it. He gave you something. Do something with it. Anything. So for our point 1 here, waiting for clarity keeps you stuck because your brain wants certainty before you take action. And a lot of times you want to wait until you've got that perfect plan in place. We've kind of talked about this before. And you're just probably never going to get quote unquote perfection. So you're going to have to just start right where you are. The longer you wait, the more you stay stuck, the more you have time to kind of think about failure, think about what could go wrong rather than thinking about what could go right. So the longer you wait, the more stuck you're going to feel. So accept that clarity is going to come after you begin. You're going to have to take a step forward first, and then you will get clarity the more and more you do. Point 2, you're waiting for the perfect conditions to start because you think you need more time, more money, more energy, less stress, a better moment, whatever it is you're waiting for. You think that you need these perfect conditions. So you're going to have to recognize that there is no perfect time, only available time, only what you have right now. And why bother waiting? Because what if the master comes back and asks you what you've done with the talent he gave you? Have you hidden it? Did you do anything with it? Again, he's not going to expect much, but he does expect something. And he wants you to be happy. If we're talking about God the Master, he wants you to be happy. And just sitting around waiting for the perfect time to be happy is not going to get you anywhere. You can be happy right now. You can start to do something. Point 3, progress happens in real life conditions, not ideal ones. You're probably never going to get those ideal conditions that you're waiting for because life doesn't pause while you figure things out. It's going to keep going. You're going to keep quote unquote wasting time. You're going to just keep thinking and waiting and all of the things, and you're never going to get anywhere. So you're going to have to just decide that you're going to do something right now. And again, we talked about doing small steps. That's all I'm looking for, small steps. So take these small steps even if you're tired, even if you don't have the perfect equipment, or you feel like you don't have enough time, it's not convenient, you don't have all the money to, buy a new building and start a business. You don't need to do that. So there's things that you can do even when things feel like they're messy or it's just not quote unquote the right time, because it'll probably never be the right time. So your homework for this week is going to be, instead of asking, what's the perfect first step? Start asking yourself, what is one small step that I can take with the time and energy I have right now? And then do it. That's the important part. Do it even if it's imperfect. And there was a situation I overheard once when I was at work. There was a new trainee in the department, and the trainee says to his trainer, I just don't want to screw it up. And the trainer tells him, oh, you're going to screw it up. The key is to notice it and then not do it again. So it's the same here. You're probably going to find that your first step is imperfect. Maybe it doesn't even work out. Maybe you fall flat on your face. But the key is to do it anyway, learn from it, and then try something else. And even if that fails, then you learn from that mistake or failure. I don't even like to call it a failure because it's an experience. You learn from it, and then you try something else. And you can refine along the way once you start going, but you have to start going with whatever it is that you have. Just you can always start with what you have. So, for example, you could start with doing 5 minutes of something instead of 30. A lot of like working out is an example for me. So I like to try to do 30-minute blocks of exercise, but sometimes 30 minutes seems like it's too much. And I also don't want to change into my workout clothes and, get the video started, go downstairs, get on the treadmill, do whatever. For 30 minutes, I'm like, I'm just not going to do anything then. So instead of 30 minutes, how about just 5 minutes? Because in 5 minutes, you could just go for a walk, go around the block. You don't have to leave your house, really. You can just march in place for 5 minutes. And then you don't really need a whole set of, fancy workout clothes. You can pretty much do 5 minutes of something with whatever you're wearing. So you can always just kind of shorten the time limit if you don't have 30 minutes to, apply to writing your book. Just do 5 minutes. We've talked about having a 10-minute action window. So if you can do 10 minutes of something, that would be great. But if you only have 5 minutes, then just do the 5 minutes. If you are trying to plan out your entire project, maybe don't worry about what happens 5 years from now. Maybe just look at what you're going to do today or like in the next week. Have maybe just a starting point rather than have everything, again, start to finish planned out. So if you're trying to figure out, well, I don't know what I want to do. Well, maybe instead of trying to figure out, I think a lot, at least for me, when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about, well, how can I make money at it? How am I going to support my family? How am I going to have, insurance and benefits and all that stuff? Well, don't worry about all that. For now, if you're trying to figure out what path to be on, just worry about what is it that really resonates with you, that feels good. And don't worry about how you're going to make money. Don't worry about what's going to come of it. Just, dial it back a little bit and try to figure out what is the one thing that really you are drawn to, that really makes you happy, that feels so fulfilling. And then from there you can work on the plan farther out. But too many times I think when we are talking about making changes or finding paths, we always want to know what the outcome is going to be and how can we plan that and how can we make sure that we set the outcome the way we want it. Keep in mind that the outcome might not be up to you. That's kind of up to God. He knows what he wants for you and what he needs you to do. But you need to start and allow him to kind of draw you along that path. So while you're doing your homework here, a reflection question for you to consider is, why am I waiting for the perfect time? Because you can start with what you have right now. Whatever it is, there's some thing you can scale back so that you can start with what you have right now. So why are you waiting for the perfect time? Because again, trying to tell yourself that you're waiting for enough time, enough money, enough resources, it might just be a procrastination technique. We've talked about this in the past where it's just a way for you to kind of make yourself feel good that you are doing something. I'm planning, I'm thinking, I'm praying about it. But you're never actually going to go ahead with it. You're probably never going to get a perfect time. And you're probably never going to be completely, perfectly ready. So why are you waiting? And just remember, you can start now with what you have. So to wrap up, point 1, you don't need a perfect plan to begin. Point 2, you also don't need perfect conditions. Point 3, you can start exactly where you are with whatever time, energy, and clarity you have today. So that's what I would like you guys to think about is, what can you do to start now? Start today, start messy, start small, and we'll just take this one step at a time. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoy the podcast, please follow it, like it, subscribe to it, leave comments and reviews. It helps me know if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm actually helping you guys. I would love to hear from you. If you like this episode, please share it with someone else who might need a little bit of encouragement to get started with whatever their dream is today, now, with their messy, imperfect, real life conditions. All right, thanks for listening, guys, and I will talk to you again on the next episode. Bye. Hi, friend. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may want to get inspired to start living their dream? Also, please leave a review wherever you're listening. It lights me up to know that this podcast is helping you. Take a step forward today. It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be done. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Bye.